We've got massive changes on the way in the weather pattern as we head into next week. This will mean below normal temperatures across parts of the central U.S., all the way down and maybe even into the southeast. Check this out. If you look at where temperatures are right now, of course, we're a little bit below average across parts of the northeast where we're dealing with some clouds with Erin associated precipitation. And once we head into next week, look at this cool air moving in from Canada. Anything in the green ranges, close to 10 degrees below average. So numbers starting to drop below average for a change from the central plains all the way into the Great Lakes. And we could get cool and damp as our front drops to the south and kind of stalls out. So temperatures will be on the way down as we wrap up August. This is where we are right now in the upper level pattern. Let's sort of start here in today's weather video. And by the way, as we start, I always like to start at times with the upper level pattern because that's what's driving things right now. Huge upper level ridge across the west. That right there is keeping things dry. It's keeping it hot. It's also, I would argue, this is your upper level winds, which actually weaken quite a bit here in the east. But this is the path of your upper level winds and the mid levels of the atmosphere. Notice right here, this northward trend of the wind field, if you will, aloft. However, right here around Erin, you really almost got calm winds, but just to the west, everything's starting to suck air into the north with this trough swinging through. So that is the good thing. The forecast continues to be for this storm to stay just offshore. It's still a pretty strong hurricane. Some of the impacts are still going to be some coastal flooding from Chincoteague all the way down to the part around the Grand Strand, all the way into parts of South Carolina, where it could be up to 1 to 3 feet. From Duck down to Cape Lookout, storm surge could be in the order of 2 to 4 feet. Still expected to track to the north. This is a quick look at the satellite this morning. It is Wednesday, August 20th in the morning. We're watching Erin getting very close to North Carolina and South Carolina. It's too close for comfort. One of those storms you have to watch very closely. Still expecting some coastal flooding, also some big surf all up and down the eastern seaboard. And it's going to be pretty impactful right here along the Outer Banks, and we'll look at that closer in just a second. And by the way, about half of you who watch these videos aren't subscribers. It's free 99. It doesn't cost you anything. So if you're looking for a weather source, I hope you'll consider coming back. I used to be a chief meteorologist. If you're brand new to the channel, you're just getting hit by all the algorithm, I hope you'll subscribe. Here's what we're looking at, though. Erin, again, the forecast is for it to move just very close to the north, very close to the North Carolina-Virginia border, and then rapidly get caught up in the westerlies and become extratropical as it moves north and into the North Atlantic. Here comes the big change, though. That cool air dropping into the continental U.S. as we head into early next week, so numbers will be on the way down. It's not going to last for a long time. In fact, once we get toward about the middle to the end of next week, we start to see some warming. And I think you still have to watch down here into parts of the Caribbean for any tropical development, because look how far south this trough is. Let's just hope something doesn't get sucked north as we head into early September, which is right around the corner. All right, let's continue to move this ahead in time. And before we do so, I do want to kind of give a big picture look here of the satellite, what's going on across the country. Here's your jet stream, pretty strong to the north, and that's actually going to bring some severe weather today across parts of Saskatchewan, Manitoba, the southern parts of these provinces, and then down into parts of North Dakota. Some damaging winds, hail, maybe a few isolated tornadoes. Clearly, Erin is the big signature here on this map when you look at it. And then your front dropping south, it's going to bring some rain too into parts of the northeast. Some of that rain could be heavy at times. Let's time some of the winds out because there are going to be some impacts. We're already feeling that breeze this morning into parts of eastern, North and South Carolina from, I would say, Myrtle Beach north up to Wilmington. Gusts up to 10 to 20 today. It could be even higher once we get into the evening hours. Now we're moving toward the 5 o'clock time frame. Outer Banks starting to feel wind gusts 30 to 40 at times. You get up towards Elizabeth City, winds in this region looking to gust 20 to 30. There may be a gust up to 40 at times, but even Norfolk, you watch this area, Virginia Beach, and then, of course, down around the Outer Banks, Hatteras, would not shock me if we see a hurricane gust. But the official forecast, or I wouldn't say the official, the new model data coming in, this isn't a forecast, the new data shows gusts between 50 and 60, so very close to tropical storm force gusts, or at least in that range, and then that moves quickly off to the north and east. Further to the north and east, let's move into this region now, the eastern shore of Virginia, Maryland, up into Delaware, New Jersey, right along the coast, wind gusts 30 to 40 looking likely here, even inland. D.C., it's going to be breezy all the way up to Baltimore, all of Maryland. I think really east of I-81, you're going to feel gusts over 20 at times, so a little breezy, and it's going to feel a little cool too with that northeasterly flow around Erin as the storm moves by pretty quickly. It's already breezy across parts of the northeast. A pretty stiff breeze off the Long Island Sound right now. That wind will pick up on the southern shore here of Long Island, and then we'll continue to see the winds increase across New Jersey. The Jersey Shore winds could gust up to 30 to 40, and then across the northeast out towards Nantucket. Clearly, that's where we're going to really start to see those wind gusts, and into parts of the northeast from Maine all the way down to Georgia and Florida. Regardless, wherever this storm goes, I mean, it's already generating massive swells. So high surf advisories, high surf warnings. Head over to weather.gov to see if you're under anything. Let's look at the ensemble guidance, though, as we go out in time. Erin's gone. Then we have this next system that we're watching heading into Sunday and Monday. I showed you that huge trough that's swinging into the eastern United States by Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. Still looks like it's going to take whatever forms out here and keep that out to sea, which is certainly some good news. But let's push this out in time. These are surface pressures. Everything coming together for a cool area of surface high pressure to build down into the eastern U.S. as we head into next week. And then across the central states, we start to get some lower pressures, and I think this means maybe a better chance of some rain. We're still watching the tropics, but look, just a few members, maybe 1 or 2 out of 50 trying to bring something into play here. We're still pretty far out in time. We're way out in time. We're looking at the 1st of September, so let's just get through the next couple of days if we can. Again, the strongest storms today to me look across southern Manitoba, Saskatchewan, and then also across parts of the deep south. Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, into Alabama. There could be some stronger storms heading into this afternoon. With a strong jet streak swinging through here, some of these will contain some damaging winds, hail, maybe a few isolated tornadoes too, and there could also be a few storms across Montana. Otherwise, the west remains dry and hot. Let's move into the central states. Again, some of these storms could get big across parts of Texas this afternoon and this evening. They'll be scattered around. It's not going to be a complete washout, and that will stretch east into Mississippi and Alabama. Some downpours possible in this area too. That could lead to some isolated flash flooding. So just stay weather aware today. It's going to be one of those days where it's unsettled as our front drops in with cooler temperatures pushing into parts of Arkansas, at least northern Arkansas, slowly, but Missouri, you're already starting to feel it. Indiana, Illinois, highs today in the upper 70s. Some areas may not get out of the mid 70s. And for tomorrow, here comes some much cooler weather, even down into parts of Tennessee. We're starting to feel the 80s versus the 90s. And then moving into the weekend, and I want to kind of push this out in time heading into next week, there comes some of that cooler air. Look at that. Lows Monday morning may be dropping into the 40s with highs in the 60s across parts of Minnesota and Wisconsin. Yeah, big changes. Let's head east. There's your buzzsaw swinging off the east coast. There goes Erin. Again, those outer bands affecting the Outer Banks. There's also going to be some other elements at play too. I find this super interesting. You've got this front dropping south, and look how everything is getting squeezed here in this Bear Clinic zone. The overrunning precipitation is going to be around, and it's going to be cool and damp through today across parts of Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, into parts of New York. Down into Pennsylvania, though, a little more instability, so there could be a few thunderstorms here. And then right along the spine of the mountains of the Appalachians, some upslope flow creating a few pop-up showers this afternoon. But either way, in this area, that northeasterly flow, you can feel it. You're going to notice the temperatures are cool. And then once Erin swings by, the winds will start to turn more northwesterly, and then we'll start to dry out some as we head into the weekend. And here comes your next front. That's going to be the weather maker heading into the weekend. That's going to bring all the cool temperatures. And a look at these temperatures across the eastern United States. There's the rain-cooled air today. Man, we may not get out of the 50s in some areas of the Northeast where it's cool and damp. Otherwise, most of you in the 60s and 70s, even 80s. Tomorrow, a little bit cooler. Further north you go, the further south you go, it's not going to get much chillier. I mean, I don't call it's August. It's not cold, but let's look at the really cool air as we head into early next week. This is what a lot of you are waiting on, the big change. There comes the 50s and 40s at night, dropping into the Ohio Valley, the upper Midwest. I mean, look at this. We may get into the, at least into the lower 50s into parts of Indiana, Illinois, and Ohio by Tuesday with high temperatures. I mean, look, there's your front dropping south. So you're going to be rain cooled here. We get north of that where the sun's popping out, but we're still talking about highs close to 80 with dew points dropping down. So that 80 degrees will feel a lot different than it does right now as the humidity gets squelched to the south. And boy, Wednesday morning, that could be a nice preview of fall for many areas from the Great Lakes into the Northeast with lows near 50, highs barely getting to 70.